I told lots of people, or a few people, when I was building stuff or having stuff built, I said this is gonna be a collector's item someday because it's gonna be very, very, very valuable because it's some of my stuff or Lucifer Star stuff, my actual stuff, and there's a lot of copies of my stuff and a lot of other stuff. People did eventually copy it, but generally my stuff was made out of titanium or something really, really rare and very hard to get and stuff like that. So my stuff was always very valuable because it's Lucifer Star, the creator of basically stars and other things. And basically, out of 100 trillion or out of 100 trillion years and 800 galaxies and everything else like that. And some people thought that there weren't that many galaxies in the universe. How could there be? And it's like, yeah, well, there's probably a lot more than 800 trillion. I just did the first 800 or whatever, or 800 a long time ago. I was there when we were first doing stars for the first time. So that's why big fusion reactors and stars are actually, that's why they're called stars, because after me. Because I made my name Star. Anyway, Lucifer Star. So, anyway, for a while there I was just known as Star, but then later on I added Lucifer Star to it because I like the sound of Lucifer. It's a phonetic thing with children. That's a smooth sounding name anyway. Lucifer. Anyway, so it's my name, L, basically. So anyway, also later on, after being Lucifer Star forever, or at least for a very long time, I thought, just Brian. Because I couldn't think of any other names to call myself. Because I loved Lucifer Star, but I felt like I wanted to change. But, yeah. So I made myself an American citizen, like I say. So anyway, but basically, where was I going with this? Oh, anyway, about the things. I mean, all my guns. I was like, those early stars or those early things, those stars on them. Like most people didn't really believe it or think that it was true. That eventually the stars would become the things that had star on them would become so, or white stars would become so valuable. But I was like, yep, there it is someday. I mean, eventually I named America and created America and all that other stuff, but basically there were star guns and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, and I built a few things, I had limited runs of everything, and of course they sold out and sold them all and everything else like that, and then that's it. There's no more. So for a while there, some of my guns were going for like $5,000 and stuff like that, and some outrageous prices because, well, they're the Epic Creator Lucifer Stars guns, manufacturing line things. So anyway, whatever. And basically, goes back a long, long, long ways. So, and kind of from Auschwitz and other things, paint research and all that, the first of its kind and all that. And most people called me crazy and said I was going to go bankrupt or something like that, or just whatever. It's like, no, someday it'll be worth it. And I was right. I mean, all technology and all information, all research and all experiments are useful. Just you don't always know what they're for or why they're useful. But eventually you would. So anyway, and that's why I put such an emphasis on them, basically. So anyway, yeah, testing out the universe. So anyway, whatever. I don't really care anymore. I'm tired. It's bedtime and sleepy time. So anyway, but yeah. And even like my old cars and stuff, like there were some really old cars that had air conditioning for the very first time and had roll up windows, and at the time they were very expensive, like $1,000 or something like that, or $1,200, which is as much as a kingdom. But like I say, eventually they became, now they're collector's items and very rare. So stuff like even stuff like the DeLorean, which is actually the first Lotus, and stuff like the first Lamborghinis eventually would become really valuable as I named Lamborghini and other things like that. And also wanted those cars, four-wheel drive cars, sports cars, to be manufactured because I didn't feel that two-wheel drive cars could adequately use the amount of power, like 1,000 horsepower. Two wheels really can't really, that there are times when you need four-wheel drive. So anyway, so cars like that and stuff like that. So anyway, and eventually those will become very valuable because they're me, Lucifer Star Brian. So anyway, and that's kind of another thing about trying to submerge me and kill me is like, well, I mean, they weren't things that Kennedy wanted or anything else like that. Like Kennedy didn't name America; he named it something else, and like eventually it was found out that Lucifer Star Brian, me, I am the creator. So So everything that Kennedy did was basically junk and useless and pretty much just trying to fabricate history or whatever. And everything that I did, was basically like worth trillions or zillions of dollars, because 800 galaxies and one me and only like 140 or 400 planets I've ever been on. And usually I only did one thing on each planet. So anyway, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't really matter anymore, but that's basically why Lucifer's Star, and also things like with the computers and stuff like that, and funding and everything, and also why. Well, I mean, I believe I hired what's his name, Ronald Reagan, to basically be my stand-in person, because I was taking a few years off to live as a child and just be a child. So anyway, why? I mean, people felt that the adult would do better, and besides, like, I mean, I was kind of like just trying to live a normal life for a little bit, and try to be normal, because I've always been epic in 800 Galaxies on Lucifer Star, and I was just trying to live like a normal life, and it would be like a surprise. And people found out that I'm actually the creator and human form and everything else like that, and just like, I mean, I was tired of dealing with all the details, and besides, like, you have to be up to date with everything, so current events and all that. So I had Ronald Reagan basically doing speeches and everything else like that, and just running my government. So anyway, whatever. He was a good. Some people talked a lot of stuff about him, saying he was a scrapper and very whatever, but could defend himself pretty well or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, but basically, I chose him, so. Chose him to lead the country until I was older. So, yeah, whatever. It doesn't really matter anymore, so, because it got all crazy. So, anyway. And basically, I mean, there's millions of people to talk to and work with and stuff like that, so you need a big system to be able to manage and coordinate with that many people anyway, so. And I don't really care. It's all in the past. So, whatever. I'm tired. Good night.